Have you ever wondered, is it possible to live and never taste death, not just surviving an accident or beating a disease, but to be taken by God Himself, untouched by the final breath we all expect, in a world where every heartbeat feels like a countdown, where loss touches every family? The idea of someone escaping death isn't just strange, it's almost unthinkable. But it happened. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And these aren't legends. They're not myths. These are real stories, written in the sacred pages of the Bible. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear isn't just about 3 men. It's about something deeper, about hope, about divine mystery, and maybe about you. Imagine this one moment you're walking through the hills. The next, the skies split open, a whirlwind surrounds you and you're gone. Just like that. Not even a funeral. No goodbyes. Only awestruck witnesses left behind. Can you feel the goosebumps yet? Before we dive into the names, I want you to take a breath. Because this journey is going to change the way you see faith life and the power of God. Let's start with the one many call the walker with God, Enoch. The Bible barely says a few lines about him, and yet those words carry thunder. Genesis 5:24 tells us simply, Enoch walked with God. Then he was no more because God took him. That's it. No death, no suffering. Just taken. Why Enoch? What was it about his walk with God that made him different? Was it obedience? Was it intimacy with the Creator? Was it unshakable faith? Let's pause and ask ourselves, what does it mean to walk so closely with God that death becomes unnecessary? Now you might be thinking, okay, that's powerful. But could it happen again? Yes. And it did. Stick with me. In just a moment, we'll uncover the next man. And this one didn't go quietly. His exit was dramatic, fiery, unforgettable. But before that, if you're still here, I want you to do something small but important. Hit the like button if stories of the Bible stir something in you. If you feel that pull to dig deeper, then subscribe and comment below what story you'd like us to tell next. Let's make this a journey we walk together. Now back to it. Picture a rugged prophet standing tall against kings, calling down fire from heaven, confronting idols and wicked rulers. Elijah wasn't just bold, he was blazing. And how did Elijah leave this world? 2 Kings 2 tells us, as he walked with Elisha, suddenly a chariot of fire appeared, pulled by horses of flame. A whirlwind lifted him, and he was carried into heaven. Just imagine that moment. Fire, wind, heaven opening. Elisha, his student, stood there crying, my father, but Elijah was gone. Not a trace, not a grave. What kind of relationship with God leads to an exit like that? What does it say about divine favor or divine purpose? Hold on to that thought, because there's one more. And this last one, well, it's not just in the past, it's tied to the future. And some believe he's coming back. But we'll get there. First, let's go deeper into Elijah's story, because understanding his journey can help us understand why he was chosen. Elijah lived during a time of spiritual crisis. Israel had turned to Baal, the people were divided, the prophets were hunted, fear was everywhere, and yet Elijah stood alone on Mount Carmel, daring the prophets of Baal to call down fire. And when they failed, Elijah prayed, and fire fell from heaven. Can you imagine the courage, the faith, the closeness with God required to do something so bold? He wasn't perfect. He feared. He ran. He hid in a cave. But even in his brokenness, God spoke not in thunder, but in a whisper. A still, small voice, and maybe that's the secret. Not perfection, but presence. Elijah didn't need to be flawless. He needed to be faithful. Let that sit with you. What if God isn't looking for people who never fall, but for people who never stop seeking? And maybe, just maybe, that's what opened heaven for Elijah. We'll talk about the third man soon. But before we do think about this, the stories of Enoch and Elijah aren't just about avoiding death. They're about intimacy with God, but live in lives so aligned with the divine that heaven itself makes room. Pause for a second. Reflect. What would it look like if your walk with God was that close, that real? Drop a comment below. What's one thing you'd change today to grow closer to God? I read every comment, and your journey matters. And if you feel something stirring in your heart right now, it's not just a story, it's an invitation to walk, to trust, to believe that the same God who took Enoch and Elijah is still at work today. And now, we come to the mystery that has left theologians, scholars and believers whispering for centuries. Who is the third man, the one who never died, whose name echoes through both Old and New Testaments? His presence is hidden in prophecy, and perhaps still yet to be fulfilled. But before we answer that, I'd ask yourself, why does God spare anyone from death? Is it a reward, a mission unfinished, or a sign for us, pointing to something far beyond this life? Enoch walked with God and was taken. Elijah rode fire into heaven. But the third, some say he still walks among us. Let's take a journey back, not to Genesis, not to Kings, but to the book of Revelation. Yes, the final book, the one that speaks of the end of judgment of two witnesses who will appear before the final trumpet. Two witnesses, two men, sent by God to speak truth, to die publicly, and then to rise again after 3 days. Here's the twist. Many believe one of those men is Elijah, but the other, could it be Enoch? Why? Because Hebrews 9:27 says, "It is appointed unto man once to die." Enoch and Elijah never died. Revelation speaks of 2 final witnesses who will die and be resurrected. Could their exemption from death be delayed? Or maybe they were always meant to return. Let that sink in. What if the very men who escaped death in the past are the very ones chosen to return at the end of time, to face death in full view of the world, and then rise again when sin, as a final testimony of God's power? It's almost too wild to believe. But faith is not about comfort. It's about wonder. Let's rewind. Why would God orchestrate something so intricate? Because the Bible isn't just a collection of stories. It's a divine narrative. Every character, every miracle, every mystery they are, threads in a tapestry woven through time. And in this grand design, Enoch and Elijah aren't anomalies. They're foreshadowing, symbols of what it means to live in such closeness with God that even death bends its knee. Now imagine for a moment if Enoch and Elijah are indeed the 2 witnesses. Then their lives were never just about the past. They were always aimed at the future. Their mission never ended. It was paused. And if that's true, then perhaps your life too is more than what you see now. Have you ever felt like you were made for something more? That's not pride, that's divine calling. That's purpose whispering through your soul. You are not here by accident. Your pain has a purpose. Your story is not over. Rehooking here because someone needs to hear this right now. The God who took Enoch and Elijah is not distant. He is not done, and he hasn't forgotten you. Let's go deeper into Enoch. He lived in a world flooded with wickedness, the generation before the flood. Violence, chaos, sound familiar, and yet he walked with God, not beside religion, not under tradition, but with God. Do you know what that means? It means he was aligned, intimate, listening, following. The Bible doesn't say Enoch built altars, preached sermons, or performed miracles. It says he walked. Sometimes faith is not in the thunder. It's in the footsteps, one after another. Quiet, consistent, holy. And maybe that's the message we're meant to hear. You don't have to be loud. You don't need a platform. You just need to walk. Back to Elijah for a moment. After the fire on Mount Carmel, after the whirlwind into heaven, do you know where he appears again? The Transfiguration. In Matthew 17, Jesus is on the mountain. Suddenly, Moses and Elijah appear with him glowing in glory. It's as if God is saying, these men, they are not gone. They are part of my eternal plan. And that's not just poetic, that's prophetic, because in Malachi 4, God promises, I will send you the prophet Elijah before the great and terrible day of the Lord. It's written, He's coming back. The question is, are we ready? If Elijah returns, will we recognize his voice? If Enoch stands among us, will we hear his message? Pause. This is not fantasy. This is scripture. This is the heartbeat of prophecy pulsing through time. And you, dear viewer, are living in that timeline. Right now, across the world, millions are awakening, searching, crying out, God, are you real? Are you near? And to that cry, the stories of Enoch and Elijah answer, yes, yes, he is near. Yes, he is real. Yes, he is coming. You're still watching. That means your heart is stirring. That means you're not here by chance. So I ask you now, not as a preacher, not as a performer, but as a fellow seeker, what are you walking toward? Because every day you and I, we are walking somewhere. Toward fear or faith, toward darkness or light, toward death or life. Choose your path, choose your walk, and know this, if you walk with him, truly walk with him, then nothing, not even death, can steal your story. Before we close this part, I want to ask you, if this story moved something in you, if it made you think, feel, question, then show it, like this video. Subscribe so we can walk together in truth. And comment below, what part of this story gripped you most? And what story should we explore next? Because this channel, it's not just mine, it's yours, it's ours. We are the storytellers now, the listeners, the witnesses. Let's make this journey sacred. So here we are, two men, Enoch and Elijah, taken by God. No death, no burial, no last breath. And perhaps not gone at all. They are the echoes of eternity, the whispers of a promise, proof that this world is not the end, that those who walk with God are not bound by the rules of this earth. But now we must talk about the third. Not someone from the past, but someone from eternity. Jesus. You may ask, wait, didn't Jesus die? Yes, but not like any other man, not like any other prophet. He chose death, willingly, purposefully. He embraced the cross not because he had to, but because he loved. And in that death, he conquered it. 3 days later he rose, not like Lazarus who would die again, but in glory, in power, in victory. So if we are speaking of those who triumphed over death, we cannot leave him out. He is not just the third, he is the firstborn from the dead, the resurrection and the life. But unlike Enoch and Elijah, he didn't escape death. He walked into it and shattered it. Why? So you wouldn't have to fear it. So you wouldn't have to wonder if death is the end. So you could know with every breath that life eternal is real and it's waiting for you. This story began with 3 men, but it ends with one choice. Will you follow the one who defeated death? Let's rewind. Why did God take Enoch? Why did he send a chariot of fire for Elijah? Why did Jesus rise from the grave? Because death is not just physical, it's spiritual. It's the separation from God, and our God is a God of connection. He walked with Adam in the garden. He walked with Enoch in a dark generation. He whispered to Elijah in a cave of fear. And he walked among us in flesh and blood, Todd, to show us the way back home. Can you feel it, Todd? The tug on your heart. This isn't just history. This is invitation. You watching right now might feel broken, tired, questioning. Maybe you've run from God. Maybe you've felt invisible. Maybe you think he's far away. But if God could take Enoch by the hand, if he could send fire and wind for Elijah, if he could rise from a tomb to call you by name, then he can reach you right where you are. This story, it's not about 3 men. It's about a love that defies death. A love that doesn't abandon you in your doubts, your mistakes, your storms. A love that walks with you. Do you want that? Because it's not reserved for prophets. It's not locked behind church walls. It's not earned by perfection. It's found in surrender. God isn't looking for the strongest, the loudest, the most religious. He's looking for the willing, the ones who whisper, "Here I am." The ones who get up again. The ones who say, I don't know everything, but I trust you. You are not forgotten. You are not too far. You are not disqualified. Right now, in this very moment, you can start your walk. A walk that leads to peace, to purpose, to eternity. So, if this story stirred something in you, if the lives of Enoch, Elijah, and Jesus made your heart burn, then let it lead you to action. Don't just feel it, follow it. Like this video, not just for me, but for others who need to hear this message. Subscribe, because we're building something real here. A community of faith, a journey of truth. And comment below. Tell me what spoke to you. Tell me what story you want next. Tell me how I can pray for you, because this isn't about views, it's about vision, a vision of a people walking with God again. Just like Enoch, just like Elijah, just like Jesus. One step at a time, one story at a time, and maybe someday, our walk will end the same way, with heaven opening, and God saying, well done, come home.